Thank you, Mayor, Council. Bob Weeks, 2451 Regency Lakes Court. I think one lesson we need to take away from today is how ill-equipped the city is to act as entrepreneur or as partner to entrepreneurs. I find it quite troubling that we subject ourselves to Walmart's business practices. I mean, if they want secrecy with the development team, that's between them. But the public is dragged into and involved in this project, and we don't want to consent to those type of agreements. So it's just another lesson in how ill-equipped the city is to be nimble as entrepreneurship is required. Now, I'm trying to understand the major economic event that's going on today. The development plan from 2009 held an amortization table that implied an interest rate of 4.91% on the TIF financing. Today we saw in the new information 4.41, I think it was, percent. We're proposing to replace that with debt at 3% interest. Is that the real economic meaning of what's happening today? I see no one wants to answer, so I'll continue.
Well, I think the city manager is
okay.
The mayor.
Yes, generally speaking, that is the change.
So, is there a cost to the city of this action?
There is a loss of revenue from the first agreement. We are recovering our costs that are associated with the debt.
Well, thank you,
we're just not making money, Mr. Weeks.
Well, thank you, Mr. Manager. So, so we can do this essentially at no cost then. So I'm wondering, are we setting a dangerous precedent for other TIF districts? Because here is the page from the city's most recent comprehensive financial report. That's it. I'm sorry, I lost my memory there for a moment. From December 31st of 2010, showing the status of the various TIF districts around town. I see a lot of numbers in parentheses here, which means that these TIF districts are in a deficit. They have the same type of shortfall that I believe is anticipated for this KenMar TIF district. So if we are willing to bail out the KenMar TIF district, why don't these others, since they have a shortfall, come to the city and ask for the same deal? And I think we have to realize that this is a bailout. Earlier today, Mr. Layton used the term default. And bailout is what cures a default. He said we have a potential of a default despite any guarantee made. So I'm wondering then, back in 2009, when H.H. Holdings, Reverend Harding and his partners, when they signed an agreement to cover shortfalls in the TIF financing, did that agreement have any meaning? Because here we are today proposing to toss aside that agreement and refinance this development at a lower interest rate. So I'm very concerned. I mean, first of all, I'd say one thing we could do today is we could do nothing with regard to the refinancing, and we could just hold H.H. Holdings, Reverend Harding and his business partners to the deal that they struck with the city in January of 2009. And if we decide not to do that, are we sending a signal that the city doesn't take these agreements seriously, that we're willing to take guarantees of shortfalls from anybody without regard to their actual ability to live up to the responsibilities that they've agreed to? I'm wondering, do we lose credibility as a council when we do these types of things? Those are my concerns, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them. I would also say to Vice Mayor Williams about the jobs, the best research we have is that TIF districts simply shift development from one part of town to another. And there's recent research from a professor at Washburn University that directly looks at the impact of retail TIF districts on jobs, and it finds that a TIF district retail has a negative impact on jobs in the city. Yeah, there's going to be people working there at the Walmart and the other stores in this KenMar shopping district, but overall the impact on employment in the city will be negative.
Any questions? Questions?
Thank you, Mayor.